So from sketch to finished piece, what's the process? You've got an idea in your head, you want to turn it into something. What does that even look like? For me, basically everything starts with sketching. And there's a few different ways that I approach sketching. All my sketches are pretty basic, but quite often I'm working on a project and I have an idea floating around in my head, kind of like a shape or something I want to explore. And what I'll do is I'll just grab a sketch pad. I've got a bunch of them lying around, and I'll just sketch something down, something like that, like an outline of a frame, a few notes next to it, kind of explaining what I'm interested in. Others just look like this. I don't know what I was feeling here, but this kind of shaped seat form that I was into, seat to, it's kind of like the Zephyr chair inspired, similar to one of the pieces I already have. So I just, in the middle of something, grab a sketch pad and sketch it down. And I suppose the sketching never needs to be exact for me. It's kind of like note taking in a lecture, like you have an idea, you want to write the note down to come back to later. So I'll do the sketches, and it's supposed to just be like a hint of a memory and really just help me trigger the thought that I had to create, so I can dive deeper into the piece. Sometimes I do a bunch more sketching, like a lot more detail, where I might break the sketch down into different pieces, etc. I'm not sure what you can see here, but basically, like I like to disassemble everything, especially when there's an idea that I really like. Like this piece started with this sort of outline, this sort of shape that I really thought was cool, the way the back legs come on an angle and meet this curved backrest. Initially, I wanted this to have a solid seat with turned slats for the backrest. I'm not sure what you call those, but and then yeah, it sort of changed into this sort of sling design that I came up with. So yeah, I'll break it down into parts to get, with a bunch of notes, just if it's something that I'm really interested in, and I do a bunch of sketches. This is kind of what it ends up looking like. From here, every piece that I do ends up in CAD. CAD is definitely been one of the biggest tools in terms of being a designer that I use, and helps so much. So you can kind of see here, this design all started for me with this shape where I'll chuck perspective off. This kind of style. A lot of my ideas start with a just like an outline, like something that speaks to me. So I drew this up. I sketched this up in CAD just to get those proportions right. I spent a lot of time with proportions in CAD. It really helps refine an idea from the sketch pad, where it looks kind of cool, but how does it all link up in proportionately? To in CAD, you can really see what you're working with. Chuck that back in perspective, and then yeah, once like I make all these as components. So sorry, so I make these all as components. You can see I'll open partner position in a new page. So I make this piece up as its own part, and then you drop it into an assembly, right, which is where we just were. And you can see the piece in 3D. Man, from this you really get a much greater sense for the product, for the piece. And from here, especially when it comes to new chair ideas, I can create digital images really easily to be able to express and share, especially if this is for a client. This is a particular job for a client. Really easy for me to just share with them exactly what I'm thinking. You can clearly see the piece, the proportions. I can throw in a detailed drawing with sketches in there as well. Yeah, so freaking handy, and just handy for my own head. Basically from here as well, from each part that we create, we can create drawing files. So this is the part I showed you a moment ago, and it's dropping into a drawing template and get all the dimensions. So once it's assembled in CAD, you know how it works. It's really, you can see it all come together. And so dropping it into, as in like all these lines and these angles, they all match up. I know it all fits nicely. And then I drop it into a drawing file and I just take these dimensions. I might adjust them slightly. Obviously I measure off the job that I'm working on. But as you can see here, like I designed this piece in particular around a piece of tooling that I have, these slot cutters for my spindle molder, where it's 8mm slot with an 8mm pucker. So I can do these really nice finger joints, which adds so much strength in such a small surface area. So yeah, basically from sketch to CAD. And then I really hope that from CAD, you really what it does is it erases the need to do full scale drawings, which I feel like takes so much time. And I always just found them frustrating. CAD's so much easier for me. And then it stops the need to do an initial prototype, because I've seen it in CAD. I know what it looks like. I've got, especially that I've done this so many times now, I really have a sense of when I see it in CAD, I see it in real life. I don't need to muck around with it again. I don't need to see it to scale, as a prototype. Anyway, it just helps. It saves a lot of time. I find it really helpful. From there, basically, once I've got my CAD drawings, I print them out and I go straight into making it as if it was a finished product. And that is the finished product. In this case, though, I did make my first frame because, when I was designing this, I was designing 10 new chairs and I was really learning as well. This is the initial one. You can see, beautiful joinery, really nice design. But what happened was this seat was just too shallow, didn't have the depth. So when you sat on it, your knees kind of came out to around here. And yeah, so unfortunately, in this case, I went one step too soon. And then here is the finished piece that we ended up with. An award-winning chair. It won the European Product Design Award for furniture. So it's just a nice slim chair inspired by, again, that's the shape that I was kind of going for. This back leg, from idea to finished product. Yeah, it's really satisfying when you have that idea and follow it through. The sling in particular took a long time. There was a lot of mucking around with this guy. I even had a little zip in here so I could add a timber slip for this in case it wasn't firm enough, because we've got 50 more foam in there. The way the sling is also supported from the hand, the armrest, and how that detail, how that flows through the armrest rail, just some push snaps on the bottom there. Yeah, really nice. Really happy with how this piece came together. The strength of it, the comfort on it, the ergonomics are great. There's probably a bit of fine tuning that I'll still make next time, as in the next one of these that I make. But as an overall piece, super happy with it. All right. Thanks, guys.